in Peshawar, which is a very becoming like a war zone. Mr. Hussaina, this is, I mean, as I mentioned, if Peshawar is kind of becoming like a war zone, you see these attacks taking place. The intervals are becoming so short, but the problem is that there is no set mode of modus operandi. I mean, first you have them target security installations, then they've gone on to target civilian places where there's quantity of people that are there are always really high at one point. Now they've gone back to targeting the security installations again, attacking police checkposts. So there seems to be no one modus operandi that they seem to be following.
Very unfortunate, heart-wrenching when so many civilians get taken out in these bombings. No modus operandi means that these people are going to hit at random wherever they are going to hit with whatever intervals they can manage. The Pashtuns in that area look similar, so it is difficult to distinguish between a bomber and a non-bomber or a civilian. So this thing will continue to happen unless and until we have our policy and we have our strategy sorted out. When we look at the army operation or the military operations, they have their operational strategy sorted out. So they are having successes, relative successes, Makin Ladda area. But when it comes to counter-terrorism in urban areas, it's even a more difficult operation. So we've got to pay our full attention in quality, quantity, numbers, with strategy, with tactics. I think that capacity building has not happened. So these events will continue to take place with the kind of frequency that we have talked, unless and until we go through with the correct policy, correct strategy, correct tactics, and I think there is hardly any capacity building.
So what are the correct tactics? What tactics can you use in order to prevent these attacks from taking place, or at least reduce the number of times that these attacks take place in a week?
I think number one, we must sort out, like there is a policy debate going on in America, in the US, that Al-Qaeda is, like today also in the Don said that Hillary Clinton has said that Al-Qaeda is going to be their number one target. They are saying whether they should send in more troops, as McChrystal has wanted, for a counter-insurgency operation, or like Biden says, for a counter-terrorism operation only against Al-Qaeda. Stabilize Afghanistan or democratize Afghanistan. So they're looking at all these options. So we must do this brainstorming, number one. Number two, give clearly defined targets to the army and of course to the security agencies. Number three, capacity building must take place. That has not taken place. Number four, good intelligence is always possible with today's electronic technology, the internet, the telephones, and so on and so forth. And last of all, men with belief in themselves and in what they are trying to do. When attacks continue to happen with such frequency, people will always tend to give up, and that is what is happening in these areas. Nobody would like to put his life on the line simply because of inaptness of the government. So tactics-wise, number one, good intelligence. Number two, good quality, good quantity, good training. This is possible, and I think people the world over, whoever are facing these kind of attacks and this kind of situation have done this, we must learn from them.
But also now in the newspaper you see reports on in media channels that police have arrested would-be suicide bombers. Police have arrested masterminds of these attacks that are taking place. But then it stops there. There's no more information given with regards to who these people are, where they've come from, or which group they belong to, or what is happening to them. Because of this lack of information and because the credibility, the people at large want to know that what is happening once these people are arrested. Why is no other information being provided about, say, other potential suicide bombers or potential suicide attacks, or where their leadership is?
You hit the nail on the head, Marine. I think the government needs to come clean to its populace as to what it is doing, which kind of people are going to hit them. For example, in case of Punjab, we are more than likely going to be hit by Punjabi Taliban. Their tactics are going to be more of assault, less of bombing. There is one group at least, sectarian group, which is known to carry out bombings. but the remaining ones, because they were groomed to carry out assaults across the border in kind of proxy wars, are likely to carry out assaults. On the other hand, when it comes to Pakistani Taliban or Afghan Taliban or Al-Qaeda, they resort to more of bombings. They've been trained to handle explosives the way they do, so we're going to see more of bombings in the NWFP. Peshawar, of course, being the hub of where these bombings are going to take place. So the government needs to come clean, needs to do its homework with good intelligence, needs to tell people what kind of how the bombers are going to look like, what kind of movements they're going to carry out, how they can be identified, like the shooting of a civilian, which has of course become a huge controversy in Islamabad, will continue to take place in case the security forces keep coming under pressure, the government keeps information to themselves and not release it to the public, and have a debate on all these issues, and then of course give instructions on television, on the media, to the people and to security agencies. I think we're going to get into deeper trouble.
All right, thank you very much for joining us here this morning and sharing your views with us. Time now to take a very short break. Stay tuned. You're watching Breakfast at Dawn.